This knife right here is the 4.5-inch utility knife by Wusthof, and it's part of the Ikon set. The whole point of a utility knife is to essentially be your go-to knife when you don't want to whip out your workhorse 8-inch chef's knife, when you're doing small sort of tasks and you don't want to have to wash and clean everything all over again. 4.5 inches I think is a perfect size for most tasks. You can also use it for paring if you want. But aside from that, let's talk about what actually makes the Ikon set the Ikon set, which is currently their flagship line of knives, and it'll probably be their flagship for quite some time. The Ikon is their highest end line of knives, but in terms of differences between this and the actual classic line, they're like 90% the same knife, with the exception of obviously all the ergonomics and design of the handle, and then some small changes to the blade geometry to make it sort of work better and be easier to use. The actual knife is made of their own proprietary 58 hardness steel. 58 hardness is right in the center of the spectrum in terms of hardness, so it holds an edge very well, but it's not very brittle at the same time. In terms of edge though, what really makes this knife stand out is the fact that it is a 14-degree angle. They use their own proprietary PE Tech sharpening technology, which is essentially laser and computer guided sharpening. And 14 degrees, to put that in perspective, Schunen Global knives are renowned for their actual sharpness for the most part, especially as consumer knives. This is a full 1 and 2 degrees, respectively, thinner of a blade than Schun and Global, or Global and Schun, which means that those 2 degrees make it a much sharper blade. The nice thing is, since they are 58 hardness, they don't dull that easily, so they're still very resilient as well. The main difference between this knife and the classic line is the handle, and they've put a lot of time, energy, and money into making essentially the most ergonomic knife they can make. And it really is a seamless transition between this knife and your arm. The way it works is, no matter how you're holding it, it seems, it's always fitting in your hand in sort of a seamless one piece with your hand. And I think that's what makes it sort of a pleasure to use. It's a full tang, obviously, like all high-end knives, and it also has this really nice solid mass of stainless steel at the bottom, which looks great and also adds a nice heft to it. The actual blade is very sharp, like I said, and that stays the same across all the Ikons. But the difference is you can get 3 different types of handles on it. You can get this nice black one, which you see here. You can get a cream-colored or white handle, which adds a little bit of oomph to your kitchen. Or if you want to go all out, you can get their blackwood handles. And blackwood, unlike the name that suggests it, is not a black wood. It's actually an extremely dark brown. It comes from Africa. It has a beautiful grain pattern, but it's very tightly controlled. So only a few chunks of it get out every year. And Wusthof essentially grabs them up and makes the handles with it. It looks beautiful, but it's definitely a premium. If you like high-end German knives, or if you like German-style knives, this is pretty much the best you can get. I'll put a link down to it below. If you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, as always, let me know. Otherwise, I will talk to you very soon. This knife right here is the 4.5-inch utility knife by Wusthof, and it's part of the Ikon set. The whole point of a utility knife is to essentially be your go-to knife when you don't want to whip out your workhorse 8-inch chef's knife, when you're doing small sort of tasks and you don't want to